There we go. Okay. Um, I've been so moved and internally saying, my heart is saying yes, yes, yes to all of you who have spoken. And thank you, Sister Elizabeth, for your presence, your being, and for this beautiful question. So I think dropping into my heart and everything that comes from that experience that is beyond the words, below the words, above the words, and anything that allows me. It's partly, creating an environment, partly, as others have said, it's the inspiration of a particular spiritual path or reading or person, being in their presence, either virtually or in person. And I think, at the end of the day, when I don't have to work to be still, and when I just, without thinking about it, now that we're talking about it, I feel whole, at peace, and in love with life, wholly in love with life. Often is it in the evening when I do my gratitude practice before sleep and reflect on the day and just all the amazing people and experiences. And when I feel like I've made the contribution I'm here to make, whatever that might be that day. So that feeling of, it was a really good day. I showed up for something that life called me uniquely to do, and the satisfaction, if you will, or what did Sister Elizabeth say, feeling whole and content. The rest of the day, often I feel like I'm working at being still. I'm working on my spiritual practice, going to meditations, meditating on my own. But the natural stillness really comes in those precious moments of dropping all of it and just being with the magnificence of life when we live from the heart.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Charles. Let's see. We'll unmute you. Here we go.
Thank you all for sharing. I could feel parts of myself saying amen to everything that was being said. When I arise in the morning, one of the first practices I do is a gratitude practice. So just the sense of gratitude for being alive, for being awake, for breathing, for being conscious. And then I have a kind of abbreviated yoga practice. So just being silent and still with my own body and noticing my own body and being okay with the aches and pains. And that's deeply peaceful for me. Then I go on, when the weather's good, I generally do prayers outside, and we have a beautiful backyard that overlooks some woods, and I usually stand underneath this beautiful oak tree, which we hardly even knew existed. We used to have another tree which had to be removed because it was about to fall on our neighbors, and there was a little tiny oak tree there, and when we had the large tree removed, this little oak has tripled in size in the last year. And so I stand under the oak, and it was full of acorns for a number of weeks, but now the squirrels have eaten them all. And there's ants that walk along the fence, and there's squirrels in the tree and birds in the tree. And just being in nature and next to the tree, and there's a little pond in the woods that it's wonderful to connect with nature. I also spend time in the garden. And when I do my prayers, one thing I try to do is, I don't do it for all the prayers, but for certain prayers, I try to pause in between the words and to experience the words of the prayer as coming out of the silence, that it's the silence that's speaking the prayers. the silence is speaking the words. I used to focus so much on the words, but now it's like I want to feel the silence speaking the words through me. So I try to do that for a couple of the prayers. I also love chanting, and I just love the Om Shanti chant, and it's something I used to do a lot, and I actually felt a sense of longing and sadness. I used to go to many kirtans. I used to go to many Sufi zikrs. When we moved to Martinez, I'm a little bit farther away from those circles now, and so my heart was longing to do more group chanting. I also used to do chanting, Kabbalistic chanting, but again, it's a bit of a distance now. And in general, I would say that I try to build moments of meditation or mindfulness into my day while I'm teaching. When I do spiritual direction, I actually invite the person we go into meditation together, and then when the person starts speaking, I stay in a meditative state. And so that really, it profoundly draws something more out of the other person, and we feel really connected together. And so in general, trying to stay out of my very verbal, very conceptual mind. You know, I am a professor and I do a lot of reading, and I love reading. And so it's about practicing stillness of the mind and also stillness of the body, because I also am an active person and I like to move. So it's about becoming aware of that and pausing.
Thank you, Chuck. Professor Chuck. Thank you. Looks like it's my turn. Like Chuck and like Kay, and I think most of you, I just feel like saying amen to all that you said. I'm just sort of fleshing out my own feeling here of stillness. I think I'll focus on something particular. Wendy and I were discussing the passage last night. What came to me were two particular times when members of my family were dying and I was sitting by their bedside. My mother, Aleha Hashalom, may peace be on her, about 10 years ago now. I was at her bedside. She was in hospice care, and she had reached a point where she wasn't speaking anymore, but I was assured that she could hear. So I brought some passages of sacred text. I brought some psalms and other things, but at a certain point that didn't feel right. And I just sat there in silence. And I knew that she knew that I was there. And there was nothing more that needed to be said. It's just being there and hanging out with her, and something was going on. We were connected. Recently, a couple of years ago, I guess, a friend of mine and Chuck's as well, Marv Langsam, had been in assisted living and skilled nursing for a while, and he was at that point where it was his time to go. He had been in a lot of pain, and we were hoping that that his time would come soon, and it was close. And I used to sing him songs. I'd bring my guitar and we'd sing a few songs. But he was also beyond that. No songs now, just silence. And it was that same experience, just sitting there in the silence, connected, that was deeper than anything else. That's what it was for me. Thank you.